to go into another position. A lot of people don't like to change positions because it's uncomfortable. I've been comfortable in this position. I have mastered this position. I know this position. I know everything that there is to know. But I have broke the box of this position, and now God wants to put you in another position. He wants to rise you up to another level, and you are focusing on your losses. You focusing on the things. I know what it took for me to get in this position, and it was heartbreaking. I had to lose some things. I had to lose some people. I had to lose some things in order to get here, and now I'm established. Oh my God. And now I'm established, and you want me to move again, and I understand what goes with the move. You ever move to another apartment and you like, I don't want to go through that again. There's too much that goes into moving. You got to pack, and then after you pack, you might take too much stuff, or you just your back be hurting and everything be hurting. But there is a posture that when you are able to do it with God, God said this time movement will be done with me, because I need to put you in the place where I need you to be at this time. You have circled around the mountain too long. You can't keep going around the mountain. I need for you to get into position. And he said, in order for you to get into position, in order for you to walk through something, you got to leave somewhere. What is the place that you are afraid to leave because you don't understand that you can't be positioned someplace else if you don't leave from where you at? Oh my God. Sometimes it's just too hard to just leave a place because of the memories, because of the ties, the soul ties that you have to that place, and you're missing what God wants to do. And so preparation to make ready or for use or consideration is to make someone ready to be able to deal with something. God wants to put you in a place because he needs you to get ready to deal with something. He needs you over there so you can deal with something. You have been groomed. You have been brought to deal with something. God has need of thee, and he needs to put you in position to leave from there. Some of y'all won't even leave your hometown. God trying to push you into a new environment, and you just, But you better understand, and you better listen. You better listen well. Soon as you begin to move, you're going to see the manifestation of what God said and what you asked for. You're going to see the manifestation of his hand and what he has for you. You're going to be able to see what's going on and how he wants to take you, what he has for you. Read the scriptures, and everything was moving. He told Abraham, look, I need for you to take your wife and your children, and I need for you to go to the land that I'm giving you. Because it ain't going to happen here. That's what he was saying. It ain't going to happen here. I need for you to get there and there. We have a problem getting there. It's only when you get to there, provision is there. And you'll know that things are beginning to dry up. When I say things are beginning to dry up, there are some things that you like, I don't know. It seems like we was doing good, and now everything is starting to dry up. And God is like, yeah, because I'm trying to shift you. I'm allowing things to dry up so I can get you to the place called there. You need to know what that place called there is, and you need to get into that place called there. And I know sometimes you like, because my family is here, my mama is here, all them here, but you better get to the place called there that God has for you. You better be able to understand that it is a time for departure in order for things to arrive in your life. Just some of y'all are asking God for different things. I want this business, and I want this this spouse, and I want all of these things, but there is a designated place for everything that God has for you. There's a designated place. There's a designated place physically, but there's a designated posture spiritually that you must be in. You're not about to see what God said if you don't get on your face and ask him what is the instructions. You're asking everybody else, should I go? David didn't ask his friends, his boys and them, should I go? He went, he called for the ephod, and he said, shall I pursue? Shall I pursue? And God said, yes, surely pursue. pursue, and you shall not only pursue, but you will overtake and recover. Let me tell you something. We've been asking God for big stuff and we don't understand. He's like, well, I done opened the door, but you won't walk through the door. I done opened it up. I done sent them, but maybe your attitude was nasty that day and you didn't recognize what God had put in place for you, that he knows the plans, those plans to take you from one place to another place. He knows the plans to get you up and going, the plans to push you out into your new, the plans for you to see one thing quick on the heels of another of what God wants to do, for you to be able to sit in your land of milk and honey. God is saying, I know the plans. You got to prepare with me. You got to understand what I'm telling you to take in this hour. You got to understand what you got to leave. You got to know what is illegal for you to carry as you take flight. You got to be able to understand that, listen, the seriousness of this hour is for you to position yourself to depart and go to where God is sending you. I know that is scary and we don't like change. Sometimes we're just too comfortable, but God is saying to some, I'm getting you uncomfortable. That which you are feeling. Hey, good morning, Cabrera. That which you are feeling. It is the uncomfortability of ascension. It is the uncomfortability of God wanting to move you to another level. The air is different when you take flight. The pressure is different when you're about to take. Things are different. And God is like, I'm trying to get you to that place. The place that I have prepared for you to walk in and do what it is that you have. And so he began to show me the process again. He's like, remember when you were working a flight, the things that had to take place. There had to be some checkpoints. There were some things that had to be checked off before air traffic control could ever even give us consent. There are some things that you need spiritually to understand. If I'm going to another level, then everything about me must change, right? There are some habits that you have to break before you can get on, right? There are some things because you have to make sure that you're not, the weight and balance is good. That's a big thing when it comes to flight, weight and balance. That means that you can't just sit anywhere. You got to sit in your designated seat because everything has to balance out. You can't watch TV more than you pray. There must be balance. You can't just eat to just eat. It has to be balanced. And so when that balance comes in, that means that it's going to be smooth for takeoff, that it's not going to go topsy-turvy, but it's going to be smooth because we check the weight and balance. But even before, we have to identify, where am I coming from and where am I going? Some people don't even know where they are. They are just in this matrix where they are stuck. And now God wants to put you in a quantum leap, but you can't even identify where you are. And I need for you to understand that it is important for your departure, for you to make an arrival. You can't have both. God says you are either going to depart, because there's only two phases. You either leaving someplace to go someplace, or you're going to be coming back to a place. So what are we doing? What part are we in? Are we in going around in a circle, ending up in the same spot? I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to end up in the same place where I don't want to live a stuck life. I want everything. He said, J-Bat said, enlarge my territory. How are you asking God to enlarge your territory when you don't want to go nowhere? You asking God to enlarge your territory. You're afraid to take flight. You're afraid of ascension. You're afraid to go on another, because guess what? This new level requires a new version of you. You like the old version because the old version is comfortable. You like the old version because, listen, you could do the bare minimum now because you have maximized this, but now you got to move on to the next thing. Are you ready to be considered for the position? Are you ready to walk through perpetual doors of favor? Are you ready to see what God said? Because he's upholding his part of the bargain. But you got to be able to understand that there is some movement that must take place on your part. There are some things that must happen on your part. There are some things that you must do. Why am I not seeing what God said? He said, because you're too low. I need for you to ascend. I need for you're too comfortable now, that you're oversleeping. and now you stop reading your Bible. You're not studying. You're not listening to what I said. You're not going over the plans. The plans is in the book. The plans is in the manifest. The plans, there is a flight plan for every plane that takes off. It outlines the planned route for you. He knows which route you are to take. He told them which way to go, that you're going to go this way. Why did you take me the long way? Because maybe the weather was bad if you went the shortcut. Maybe there was something demonic waiting for you if you went that way. There was going to be some bandits that was ready to take your stuff. You don't understand the route until you get into his presence, and he's going to tell you the route and the other details of what it needs, what you need to hear, or what you need to know, things to know before you go. And make sure that that plane, the flight plan, make sure that that plane arrives arrives on time, and that it has enough fuel. Are you fueled enough to pray on another level for what you ask God for? Come on. It alerts. It makes you alert to be ready that there are some announcements that's being made in the spirit realm that say prepare for takeoff. You're beginning to dream different and move different, but you don't understand what it is that God is saying to you. And so we have to understand that you got to end up and look, where am I coming from? I'm coming from a broken household. I'm coming out of a broken marriage. I'm coming out of an abusive relationship with a lead. I'm coming out of this and I'm going into that. And I'm afraid. I'm afraid to walk fully into who God has called me to be. He's calling us higher. He's calling us higher. He's calling us higher. But in order for you to go higher, you need to actually know. One of the first things when it comes to is getting your bags together. What are you carrying? What are you carrying? What are you carrying? Do you know what you're carrying? Do you know what to take and what to leave? He told them, leave everything. Leave everything. Get up and go. Get up and go. Are you traveling too heavy? That you're taking on what happened yesterday and you're taking on everybody else's stuff, that you're not light enough. You're not light enough to take flight. You're too heavy. Sometimes planes have accidents because they're too heavy. Those small planes can only handle but so much weight. But he was like, now I'm trying to tell you to take flight, that this is one of the most important times of your life. This is your season that you have been waiting for, and I need for you to move forward in it. But what has you stuck? Is it the fear that it's not going to happen this time? He's like, you're going to make it to the other side as you partner with me. Seek thee first, the kingdom and all of his righteousness, and everything is going to be added to you. God's provision, God's initiative, and God's reality is going to be placed on you. You got to be able to understand, for he knows where you are going. He knows where he's taking you. And we're so hesitant because it looks like an old thing. It looks like sabotage, but nobody is sabotaging us really but ourselves. We like, oh, it's the enemy and it's this and it's that. And he's like, the enemy is not even, he doesn't have to do anything. I already put the favor on you. I already gave you permission to take off. I already gave you what you need to start that business, to start that ministry, to move into the things that you have asked me for. Where's your creativity? Where does your fear lie? And I need for you to look at it and understand that this time it's going to require you to actually get into the vehicle. Get into his presence. Make movement in this time. It has to be movement on your part. He has done his part, and it has to be movement on your part. Are you moving? Are you moving? Let me tell you something. It's so easy to lay on your side and or sit down and rub your ankles together. But one thing that God is not playing with in this hour is how we respond. He wants to make sure in this hour that you want his heart and not just his stuff. Because if you get his heart, you're going to get his stuff and everything that comes along with him. And so he wants to make sure that you do your part. This is one of this not it may seem like one of the hardest tests that you have, but I need to tell you that you will complete this time, that there is nothing lacking concerning your next. You just got to be prepared. He has prepared it, but now all you got to do is show up in it. Can you show up in your story? Can you show up in what God, the plans that he has for you? Because the plans have been made, but now he's looking for you. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. I need for you to show up and see what God has. Come on in where the table is spread and the feast of the Lord is going on, but you got to get there, and you got to have somebody around you that's able to push you into that place that God is taking you to. No, but in my mind, I'm like, nobody should have to push me, but sometimes you're afraid. Sometimes you got to be pushed into the water. Good morning, Danny. Sometimes you got to be pushed into the water for you to learn how to swim. Sometimes you got to be able to understand I can't be in two places at the same time. I'm not omnipresent, so I have to put some things in place. In order for me to show up, I got to depart. In order for me to get into where I need to be, I have to be able to shift. This whole thing this morning is about your shift. What is keeping you from shifting? What mindset are you carrying that's stopping you from shifting? And I need for you to move into that. One thing that there are some people that are waiting for you. They're waiting for you. They need you to respond so that you can get to them. You need to respond to the call. That there are some things that you are responsible for. Let me tell you something. There's some things that you're responsible for, whether you move or not. It does not change your responsibility. You are being held responsible for the things even that you don't feel that you're going to do. I don't feel like doing that, but you still held responsible because you know what God said, what he told you, and you thinking that you're treating it as an option is going to take away the responsibility, but you are still responsible for that. Let me tell you something. God kept saying to me since the beginning of the year, move your rig. And I understood what he was saying when he said, move your rig. That means that he was taking me back to a time where I needed to move. I needed to move my ambulance to go to an assignment, but somebody was standing in front of me. He was blocking me. He wanted to argue with me. There was opposition in it, and I could not move, but there was not an option. The call center, the dispatcher came across the mic. She was like, 12 x-ray, move your rig. That means that you needed to get in, move it so that you can go to respond to the place where you are called to. You need to be able to move. You got to get through the opposition to be able to move, to respond to that which God is calling you to. And I could not move. The opposition had to be threatened. He had showed up at my job, and he wanted to fight. And so me and my partner are trying to get out, but he had pulled his car in front of the thing. I had to call the police. I had to be able to get him out of the way so that I could move this rig and go to the one. It was a cardiac arrest. Somebody was waiting for me to come and help them breathe again, and I could not move. What is holding you back? What is the opposition that's stopping you? I don't want to do that. I need to be able to examine, but that there is backup in the spirit realm. Nothing can oppose what I'm doing. Soon as my partner, while I'm sitting there rolling up the window because he want to argue and he want to fight, my partner was over there and he was calling, listen, we can't move because we got somebody blocking us in. I need for you to send him on. So I need for you to send PD over here because he will not allow us to move. Do you know that my authority in the spirit, my authority in the spirit realm has the authority to break through opposition. Nothing can stop your movement but you. I had two choices. I could stay out there and finish the fight because I was a fighter. I could fight too. Or I can go to where I'm going. I could run over the opposition and get to where I'm going. If you ever seen somebody that ran hurdles, they got to get over the hurdle. Sometimes you might fall down, but you got to get back up and finish. And so there's some opposition that's coming, and you need to understand what's coming. You need to understand what's coming against you, but you also need to know that you're able to fight through it, that you have everything that you need. You got backup. My partner got, hey, he got that mic. He like, hey, this is 12 X-ray. We cannot move. There's opposition. Do you know that the police was there that fast? But even just me making the call, that just my partner calling caused him to back off. Just because the call was made, even before PD, soon as he heard that we got backup coming, okay, so you got to understand that you need to walk with those who can back you up. I don't got time to walk with people who don't got no prayer life, don't know how to back me up in the spirit. We are the ones that stay. God has given you every resource that you need, not only that you could depart, but that you will arrive safety. One thing that I needed to understand, that I can't help you if I don't arrive safely. I have to understand that I have to be in the position, in a healthy position, to be able to get to that place. You keep getting sick. You keep moving too slow, and so now you gotta rush, and now you rushing, and you moving recklessly because you feel you gotta catch up. You're trying to make things happen when things are already in place. You want to argue with the gate agent on what you can't take. You ever seen like they arguing? You can't bring that on. You can't bring that on board. You can't bring your own alcohol. Your bag too heavy. You pack too heavy. This cannot go. It will start a fire on the plane. You can't do this, and you can't do that. And you're so angry because you want to take all of these old habits with you. And God is like, in this new season, you're going to travel lightly. You're going to learn how to travel lightly. You're going to learn what to let go. Can I tell you, you won't depart because of who you won't let go. You got to let go sometime your mama and them. You got to let go them people that don't want to go. They don't want to go. I don't want to go. Or they don't want to go the route that you're taking. I don't want to fly. We're going to drive. Well, you know how long that's going to be. By the time you get there, vacation is over. By the time you get there, you done missed what it was that you were supposed to see. You got to understand even the route and the way that God is taking you to these things. You can ride in two ways. It's several ways that you could ride, but I need for you to understand the seriousness of hearing God clearly and what He's telling. What is He telling you to leave because He wants to move you up further? What is He telling you that you're stagnant here? You ain't gonna grow no more here. You done did everything that you can do. What is He telling you that you're not obeying? I need your obedience in this hour. I need your obedience. Orders have been given from the tower. The flight plan has been made. He said, before I placed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. I knew where you was going. I knew what you was going to go through. I knew that you was going to face some things, but I knew you. And I'm trying to reach you to the expected end. Not the expected end that I have, not the expected end that you expect, but what I have planned for you. And it's good. It's good. His good and perfect will for your life is good. Can you get to that good and perfect will? It matters who's in your ear. It matters what you hear. It matters who's talking to you while you're moving. There is a phase of flight that I could not contact the pilot. I want y'all to catch that in the spirit realm. There's a phase of flight where it's called sterile. As we're climbing altitude, and sterile lasts from ground to 10,000 feet. And at 10,000 feet, you'll begin, if you ever get on a plane, you'll hear the things, those things that you hear, those things that mean something, that we have came off of the flight of the portion of the flight that is really, really serious. How we take off, how we go up, how we go up, it matters. How making sure that everything is good. They're focused. The pilot is focused on getting you to that ear, getting that ear up, making sure that the plane ascends the way that it should. He's checking to make sure oil bells and whistles is in place. You hear some things that you think that God is not listening. He's silent because you are in sterile. He is right now making sure that you understand the assignment, that listen, you trained for this. You trained for this. You're looking and you're observing what is going on, but now it's go time. I can't talk to you right now because I'm listening for the sounds that let me know what phase of flight that I'm in. I know that when there is one thing, that means that we have came through. On the second thing, that means that we are out of sterile and now I can move about the cabin. There are some places where you got to stay in your seat. Stay in your seat, but listen. I'm listening for the sound. Even if God seems as if he's not talking, there are some things that have put in place that you have been trained for in this hour. It's go time. Remember your training. Don't forget your training. Don't forget your training. Don't forget what he said. If he's quiet, go back to the last instruction that he gave. That means that you got it. He doesn't have to speak because you know more than what you know. You understand. You train. Listen to me. You train that you be able to understand every part of the movement, everything that he is saying, you understand. Oh my God. Oh my God. I ain't here. You calling everybody, asking them about what God said. And God said, if I said it, it's already done. If I said it, surely you're going to see what I said. If I told you to leave a place, that means that I have provided for you in your new. And even in your new, when it looks as if, oh my God, everything that seems, you got to make sure that you're at the right location. You know how many times people get on a plane and they don't listen? We announce where we going several times and you still end up in the wrong place. You done ended up in Dallas and you supposed to be going to Chicago. You done ended up in the wrong place because you distracted and you was not listening. That is the only way that you can get on a flight and end up someplace else, or you don't speak the language. But this time you need to be clear on where you're going and what you're called to do. In your flight plan is everything that you need. You just got to listen to air traffic control. What is heaven saying concerning you? What is God saying about this next move? And I know it's scary. It's a little turbulent sometimes. There's a lot of things going on. It seems like there's too much traffic and I can't even get in position to get where I'm going. But God said, I have prepared it for you. And even if it seems as if it's a little rough to get there, you got to understand this, that you're going to get there. You must get there. That is there. You got to get to that place called there. And so there is a time. This is time sensitive. We are almost in the month of March. January has come. February has come. We're so focused on what's happening that we're missing our set time. You can't afford to miss your time. I can't afford to be late. I can't afford to miss this departure. I can't afford to miss this new thing that God is doing. I can't afford to miss it. You cannot afford to miss what God is doing because I can't guarantee you. I can't guarantee you that he's going to bring it back again. God is a God of second chances, third chances, but I can't guarantee you that this time, if you miss it, that he's going to bring it back. I'll catch you next time. I ain't make it this time, but I'll catch you next time. What if next time never comes? What if you're just one departure away from your grand arrival? This departure right here. Can I testify? Right, when I left, when I came to Florida, I was feeling like I just felt like I was in a dry place. It felt as if everything was drying up. I was sick of flying. I was frustrated with the people. I hated going to work. I hated the uniform. I just hated going to the airport, and I began to get frustrated. And I was like, well, why am I feeling like this? I know that we are in contract and all of these stuff. My airline was going through a lot. And I was like, I'm just going to sit. I'm just going to be quiet. And I had stopped flying as much as I did. But in that, God was like, I need for you to apply for some some things. I need for you to apply. And I was like, what you mean? Because this is what I'm going to do. I thought that was going to be my forever career. I always wanted to do it, and I'm going to fly. I didn't understand the importance that God was preparing me for departure, that I began to get a little antsy. I began to get irritated. I began to get tired and worn down. And he was preparing me to shift. But I had to catch on that he was shifting me, or else I would have stayed someplace where he was moving me. And so it just happened to be this, and this is a season of recommendation. And I say that one of my spiritual daughters had got this job. And she kept saying, Ma, you need to be here. She didn't even want to take the job because she didn't want to do this. She said, this ain't for me. But she stayed there, and she began, from the time she got hired, she began to recommend me for this job. She began to say, she kept saying, Ma, you need to be here, whatever. And she was like, well, if there's an opening, I'm going to tell them about you. And she did. It reminds me of Joseph and the cupbearer. That's why last week I said that the cupbearers are coming, right? And so as she recommended, they told me to apply. The job required a bachelor's degree. And I was like, I ain't finished my bachelor's degree. But God said, apply anyway. Well, by the time they had got by the time somebody had ended up quitting or whatever, she recommended me for the job and wanted to interview me. Well, and during the interview, once I went in there, I had a meeting with the whole board. The hiring process was with the whole board. I sat in the boardroom and I had 6 people interviewing me, and I was not intimidated. God had prepared me for this place. And I was able to get the job. That they was like, oh, we want you. I'm talking about on the spot hiring for something that was supposed to have a second interview. And I'm telling you, because I trusted God and I was like, okay, let's see what this is. But then the part came about, am I still going to fly in this? Because I can fly on the weekend to keep my flight benefits. I can fly on the weekend to be able to get where I need to go on my leisure. He was like, do you trust me? God is like, do you trust me? I'm like, Daddy, I'm all the way in Dallas. What am I going to do? I'm in Dallas. I had 3 job offers at the same time in this same business and working with victims, right? So one was for a group home for the youth, for abused youth, that was in Dallas. There was one there was a domestic violence shelter that wanted to bring me on. But this one is where I work we are a certified, we're the certified race crisis. We're the certified rape center in Orlando, Osceola, in Seminole County. And so God was like, I need for you to let everything go. He was telling me to let everything, even flying. You're not flying anymore. And I was like, what you mean? Like, how am I get around and get around for free for 2 years now? He's like, you're gonna let it go. And for me, I was going back and forth. I didn't want to quit flying or whatever, and then I let it go. Do you know, when I let it go, all doors was open when I let it go. He was like, you're going to have everything you need to continue itinerant ministry. You're going to have everything. And it was in less than 30 days. When they hired me, they had to wait for my background check, because as soon as your background check, because I had to do a level 2 background. And she was like, once that comes back, and it seemed like it took forever because I got hired right the week before Thanksgiving. And, the background check didn't come back like till December something. It took like 2 weeks longer than what it should have taken. But I'm telling you, this is a season where God is telling you, as you move, trust me, you're going to walk into some things. Everything was prepared in your new season, and everything that you need is there. And so if you're in a valley of decisions and you need to be able to move and go into what this new thing, I'm telling you that God is saying, go. I heard it loud and clear this morning. Move and march on to your new, and be what God has called you to be, and be able to have everything that you need. Every provision is there. Your next is there. Listen, some of y'all looking for y'all boo thing. He probably ain't where, or she ain't where you looking at, because you in the wrong region. You're in the wrong territory. You're in the wrong place. But as you get up and look around, and as you go back to the notes, some of y'all instructions is in your notebook. He gave it to you. Consecrate yourself and prepare for where God is taking you. It's time for departure, so that you could arrive on time. Arrive on time. It's time for you to depart, for you to arrive on time. I pray that this has blessed y'all while everybody seems to be off today. I have to go into work, but I just wanted to encourage y'all on today. And I pray that this word has given you some nuggets that you can use to know that it's time for you to move out. I put my hand once again in your back and push you out prophetically into your new. That everything that you have been asking God for, I want you to know that He has already put it in place. It's up to you to get to that place called there. And I love y'all. And y'all have a blessed day on today. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye.